Welcome back to Profit Punch. In this video, we are going to study the curious case of Rivian stock, and I think this stock is going to the moon. I bring to you this video because I have watched the price action in this stock for quite a while, and it is showing me something quite interesting, and I would never make this video if I didn't think this was urgent. I initially took a position in Rivian, but I got shook out and I am looking to re-enter. In this video, I'm going to show you what might happen in Rivian and why I think you should pay attention to the stock. Before we go into Rivian itself, I just want to show you some studies from 3 other stocks that have made very huge moves so that you can understand the philosophy behind this stock recommendation. The first one is Applovin stock. So here we see that Applovin does its IPO and it crashes for over 1.5 years. This is the monthly chart. And then as soon as it finishes crashing, we can see it bottoms up over here. The reason why monthly charts are great is because a lot of noise is not there. So it bottoms out over here. You can see that bottom, and this is the first time you can buy. So we see it breaks the trend line, comes back, tests the trend line again. This is a very common thing. Whenever a stock breaks the trend line, it will try to come back to test it again, and then it goes up. So experienced traders might start a small position here, and then you can buy here. And then from that breakout, we can see that it went up over 4,400%. So if you put in $10,000, it would be almost $500,000 right now. Unbelievable. And then it goes up, it forms a base 1. So here we see it sits down for about 5 months. And if you still bought a breakout from this base, you still made 1,500%. So that means that if you put in $10,000, it would be $150,000. So these bases are good times to add to your position or to initiate a new position you can note in the stock. Here we can see another base 1 as well. It takes about 1, 2, 3, 4 months. It sits down, and then after that, it does a huge, again, 700% move. So if you put in $10,000, it turns into $80,000, and this just happened over a course of about 10 months. So these are huge money-making moves that a lot of people do not look at. If you're enjoying this video and want to build financial freedom using the stock market, I put together a free guide called 10 chart patterns that make money. It's based on the exact system that we use at Profit Punch, a financial newsletter and educational hub that sends you A+ stock setups where we tell you exactly when to buy and sell, and also will teach you stop trading from the ground up. These are the same patterns that our members use to catch moves like SMCI 250%, NVDA 200%, Applovin 350%. The guide is short, visual, and beginner-friendly. Just click the link in the description or pinned comment to grab your free copy. Now back to the video. The next one is Dave. Same thing. IPO crashes for a long time. We can see this is something called the double bottom. If you study these monthly charts or the weekly charts, these patterns become very clear to you. And this green bar over here shows that there is very, very huge volume. I color code my blast for that. So it's very easy for me to see. And you see this breakout over here. We see that from that breakout, Dave has done about 3,000%. So that means your money multiplied times 30. If you put in 10,000, you have $300,000 right now. You could have bought a house. If you put in $1,000, you make $30,000. That is the power of these moves. So from that breakout over there, you just buy. Then there is this huge base over here. We can see that base. A base is when you see this huge consolidation. It's a good time to buy initially or to add to a position. So you buy there, and from there you still went up 560%. So your money multiplied times 6. Another base forms, it does that again. And then here we are seeing another base. But the reason why this is even more interesting is that this is a huge cup and a handle. If this breaks out, the stock might go to the moon, because that's what we saw in Applovin here. It made a base over here, and then it went and did an all-time breakout. So this is also a very huge move that is to be followed. After Dave, the next stock finally is Palantir. Again, we see an IPO that crashes over several years. It's a very interesting move. We see that initial breakout over here out of that IPO base on a monthly chart. And then from there, it does a 2,000% move to the top. So that means you're multiply times 20. If you put in $10,000, it turned into $200,000. If you put in $1,000, it turned into $20,000, which is a very, very good profit over just 2 years. If you put in 5,000 bucks times 20, then that turned into $100,000. I know this sounds unbelievable, but these patterns happen over again. And as it goes up, you can see these bases, which is time to add to your stock. Now, if I take it to the Rivian chart, finally, what do you see? See an IPO that has collapsed over a long time. A trend line is valid if it touches at least 3 points. So we can see that this is the downtrend line, right? The stock, we can see these higher lows. So in stock trading, there's several signals that you like to see. Higher lows is one signal, right? If you know trend lines very well, you can draw a trend line like this. It touches at least 3 points. That's a good one. And then we can see that as soon as it breaks the trend line, it comes and tests it. That's quite interesting. And another funny thing is that we can also see it's testing this trend line over here. And then we put a resistance here, which it has been forming for quite a while. 1, 2, 3, and then it breaks out of this resistance. Isn't this the same signal that happened in app or down here? Isn't this the same signal that happened in Dave over here? I hope you see what I'm talking about. I hope you can see the gist. Now, should you buy it right now? Of course, it has just broken out, so I wouldn't say buy it. Let me show you why. So that is a monthly chart. So of course, when you're trying to get into the stock, you try to go into lower time frames until you reach the daily time frame, which is the execution time frame. So here we see those resistances, 1, 2, 3. Here a good sign. Finally breaks out in very huge volume. So usually this would have been a good time to buy. But if you didn't get here at $16, it's okay. What normally happens is that it's going to go up and then it's going to come and test, or it's going to form a base. So what you can do is come here, make this a weekly chart. You always want to have 2 charts, but in a ratio of 1:5 or 1:4, if you can do that. So here we see on the daily chart, it is consolidating and pulling back, right? So one pullback that you like to see is back down here to the breakout level. Sometimes it won't do that. So you can just partially, you can buy a position here. And if it goes up, great. If it shakes you out, then too sad. So you can wait for a pullback, right? Or you can wait for a breakout. That is one way to handle these moves. So for this one, I'll wait for a pullback to the 50 moving average and I would initiate a new position, but it might not do that. It could just continue and keep going up. So we are not so sure, but the good time to buy was here on this day, 12th December, because this was the breakout candle clearly. And once it breaks out above that, then you just buy at this level here. Stop could be here. 15% might be too wide, so I'll just use half of that candle. About a 10% stop, and then you can just wait and see what the future holds. Sign up for the Profit Punch newsletter if you feel like you've found value in this video. This is how I think Rivian might be one of the top stocks going into the next 1 to 2 years. Let's wait and see what is going to happen to this stock over the long run. May the markets be with you.